Hey guys, what is up? It's me, Lori from Tiori, and welcome back to another episode of Nusantara. So, what happened in the previous episode? Well, basically, we followed this dove or bird, which led us to a crazy lady, and I guess we got transported into the middle of a different world, and we were drowning, but now we're saved somehow. So, let's get back to where we were. Sky, don't she? No, can't. Young? Dangerous. Leave. Okay. It's so noisy. I could hear some whispering, shouting, and some weird rustling that I didn't recognize. And I could hear someone running too. Can't they just let me sleep? I'm so tired. Body is sore all over, my eyes sting, my nose hurts, and I have an awful headache. And I have yet to realize that I'm freaking alive. I almost drowned. Oh well, now I recognize it. Huh? As my memory returned, I awoke with a jolt and gave a loud, deep gasp. I hugged my shaking body and took a deep breath to calm my nerves, only to realize that I wasn't in my usual clothes and my hair was down. Where am I? Where are my clothes? I could sense some movements and voices, but my mind was still too hazy, clouded to comprehend anything. Calm down. You're safe now, you poor girl. Again, I could feel a pair of arms holding me. It was a different pair from before. This one was more gentle and soft. One was stroking my back. I struggled weakly until I came to my senses. I noticed that the voices had stopped. I turned my head slowly, facing whoever was hugging me, and I'm glad you're okay. Huh? A beautiful woman with braided long hair at one side and memorizing hazel eyes greeted me. It must have been a really scary experience to almost drown like that. You're very lucky that Yuda and Mitra was patrolling around Hakuna Falls when that happened. I'm so sorry, I cannot pronounce to save my life. Are you hurt? Oh my, you're so pale. I hope you didn't catch a cold. What about... Slow down, Ashy. You're scaring her. Yeah, it's not like she's dying. An elderly woman with white hair and kind orange eyes emerged from the back of a man who was following right behind her. All of them had dark colored skin tones and was wearing some kind of aboriginal clothing with trinkets from colorful feathers, stones, and teeth. They also had a modest amount of tattoos. I had averted my eyes back to the beautiful woman and the elder when I noticed the man was practically half naked, showing the tattoos on his right torso. The elder approached me and I flinched as she touched my forehead. It's all right, you're in good hands. My name is Sukama. She pointed at the beautiful woman. The fussy but good girl is Ashy, and she pointed at the man. That rude son of mine is her husband, Yuda. I noticed dumbly at the brief introduction. At least I feel better now, and they seem like good people, except that man Yuda, who keeps on glaring at me. I think I'm missing something. I walk at the realization. There are wings on their backs. I thought it was like some kind of decoration, but then, I swear, it moved. Sukuma had a pair of brown wings, while Ashy had a yellowish-brown wings. Yuda, on the other hand, had intimidating gray-white wings of his. I tried to confirm my suspicion by touching Sukuma's wings, and the wings jumped at my touch. It is real. I froze and let out a small scream of shock. Both Sukuma and Ashy looked at me with amusement, while Yuda scowled. Hey, it's not polite to touch someone's wings. You haven't even introduced yourself, so apologize, you ungrateful brat. What? Hee hee, Sigma's wings are delicate due to old age, so don't touch them recklessly. And just to remind you that you still haven't introduced yourself, honey. You think I'm old? Sigma frowned at Ashy and Yuda. I'm only translating Yuda's words. Yuda looked at Ashy in disbelief. I would usually find this kind of conversation funny, if not for my still surprised self. A lot of questions swirled my mind, but I quickly recovered and finally decided to push my questions for now. Why is she so afraid and scared for her life? I would be amazed and be jealous. I wouldn't want wings, man. What am I thinking? I'm being rude to my saviors. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. I'm really sorry for intruding, and thank you for saving me. And am I the only one who noticed that there's no music at this part? Kinda awkward. My name is Tamara. It's nice to meet you all. I bowed my head deeply and waited for the responses, but they're not responding. Confused, I lifted my head and met their own confused expressions. Well, this is a problem. Great. Now we found out that she's a wingless. Now there's also a language barrier. Just what we needed. What? I perfectly understand you, so what's the problem? Don't you speak English too? They only gave me a more confused looks and shook their head. I'm sorry, but we can't understand what you're trying to say. Oh. Now, how do I explain this? The situation here. It was like I was watching a show with a different language, but with English subtitles. You know, like watching Portuguese movies with an English subtitles, or how about a better reference? Watching Japanese anime with English subtitles. Makes more sense. You definitely couldn't speak Portuguese, but you could definitely understand it. Due to the subtitles, of course. Weird, right? This was just a wild guess. But did they speak Indonesian? Their accent was somewhat familiar, but I wasn't sure. My mom was full English while my dad was half Indonesian, so he might have spoken in Indonesian a few times. He also used to bring me to translated Indonesian folklores, but he didn't have the chance to teach me anything about Indonesian language, so I'm screwed. At last, I conveyed my message with the most trivial thing I can think of. I pointed at myself, Tamara, and then I ended it with a bow. Perfect. So, scene 3, enemies or allies? A few minutes later, I tried to explain that I was not from this world using body language, but it was getting out of hand. You fell? I nodded and then crossed my hands, trying to describe the world by making a huge circle over my head. You're not from here? I nodded with a smile. I heard you fell from a hole in the sky, is that true? Another nod and my smile widened. Gasp! Or, did you fall from heaven? My smile dropped as I shook my head. No! Ooh, then, are you sent by the goddess Fate herself? Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Okay, this is getting weirder and weirder. I shook my head harder. No, you're getting the wrong idea. No, don't tell me. Are you goddess Fate? I slapped my forehead. Oh my gosh, this is going nowhere. Yuda scoffed. You have just insulted our goddess Ashy. Well, she did fall from the sky. But remember, I don't know any of your language. She doesn't even have her wings yet, let alone being a goddess. She's still a kid. No, scratch that. She's a brat. Ouch. Patience. Remember, he saved you. I pointed at Ashley's wings and then shook my head. We already know you hadn't had your wings yet, brat. God, help me with this guy. Sakuma, I'm guessing that you shelter her from now on, right? I bet she can't even protect herself. She even tried to fly when she didn't have wings yet. Okay, I didn't fly. I got transported into this world. I give up. Let them assume that my wings haven't grown yet for the moment. Before Sakuma could reply, Ashi cuts in. You're being rude, Yuta. She's not a brat. I think she's just a little younger than me. Maybe a year or two. Oh, forget about brat. She's a twerp. That was it. Picked up my makeshift pillow and threw it at him. Dump. He caught it with ease. Nice try, twerp. Man, are you like a high school bully or what? Or elementary school bully? Before I could retaliate by throwing more things, Sakuma, who had been quiet earlier, interrupted by standing between me and Yuta. Well, this has been a nice discussion. Tamara, you shouldn't take him too seriously. He's just too arrogant and prideful for his own good. Believe me, he is actually a soft-hearted person. Hard to believe. Yuta scoffed as she reprimanded him gently. Ashi, I think you need to translate Yuta's words more often for Tamara. She's obviously not used to him, unlike us. Give her a month and maybe she'll understand. Alright. It's not like I want her to understand me. I don't even bother. Now, don't say anything you don't mean, Yuta. It's not. As she stood on her toes and gave Yuta a peck on his lips, much to his surprise and mine, he immediately went silent. His face was blushing fiercely, I meant. Oh, he certainly has his soft sides. Wink, wink. That was unexpected. My gaze met Yuta's and I gave him a sly smirk. He quickly threw his face away, hiding his annoyance and embarrassment. Sakuma cleared her throat. Back to the topic. I believe I understand the situation more or less from now. She's not from here, but she somehow understands our language. Yeah. I don't know about her wings. Isn't it a little too late for her wings to grow? Maybe she's from another tribe we don't know, or worse, she's not from this world. I loved her. I nodded my head furiously and then held her hand encouragingly. Yes, you got everything all right. This conversation is finally going the right direction. Sakuma smiled at me before continuing her theory. But I do believe that fate sent her here for a reason, and everything will be revealed itself at the right time and at the right place. And I really wanted to point out that fate didn't guide me. It dumped me all over Sky, and I almost died of that. And now, she cleared her throat. Welcome to Luma Village. I'm Sakuma, the village's shaman and chief. And the music suddenly stopped. I welcome you to stay here as long as you need. After some more explaining from Sakuma, she told Yuta and Ashi that it was enough for today, as she told them to stop bothering me. She insisted that I needed to get some rest or my fever would worsen. She gave me Ashi's former room that was no longer being used by her since she was living with Yuta now. Irritation rose within me when I remembered about Yuta. My good impression of Yuta as one of my savior has been thrown over the window at the moment when he opened his mouth. He's so lucky to have Ashi as his translator and wife, or he would say goodbye to his social life with that attitude of his. Contrary to Yuta, Ashi was kind and honest, even though she was a bit childish and fussy. It was almost too good to be true. Apparently, the one who changed my clothes when I was unconscious was Ashy. She didn't want me to stay in wet clothes for long and changed them to dry clothes for me. I think she was one of those people who's vulnerable enough to be taken advantage of, but she had Yuta as her husband to protect her. Perfect for the pair, right? When I thought about it, Yuta did have a threatening presence with that muscular, sleek body and that red blood tattoo of his. Are you complimenting him? I thought he was at least 5 feet tall and 10 inches, if not more. With that kind of physique, I doubt anyone would try to mess with his wife unless they had a death wish. Even with all of that, it was hard to hate or take advantage over such a very sweet woman. Well, at least that's what I could say about Ashy and Yuta's relationship for now. Sakuma hadn't filled me in on some details, but she did give me this old map and some information. Okay guys, our time really has run out and it's past 15 minutes. I think I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys, even though this isn't a good part 2. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure you click that like button and also subscribe. Make sure you comment, or don't, I guess. See you later guys.